and it wasn't that smooth for you. I mean, there was that period in the middle when the band broke up,
Yep.
and everyone thought, OK, Gary's going to be the star, but you weren't the star, were you? Initially, it was Robbie.
Oh, listen, totally. Rob took it and run with it,
yeah.
you know. I mean, we all had an opportunity of doing something at the end of Take That. You know, Rob took his opportunity and run. And there was a lot of expectation on me, and I couldn't live up to it. And at the time when I released my last solo record, which was actually 14 years ago, that last album I made, it was quite a miserable time because I felt like it was a record made to please everybody. It was made by committee. I had Clive Davis in New York telling me the type of artist he wanted me to be, the label in London telling me the sort of artist they wanted me to be, and I look at the record and I think, well, who is this? You know, there's hardly any of me on there.
It must have been very hard for you. When you left the band and we all thought you'd have this big solo success, and now Robbie had the success. And there was a period where well, OK, it's going to sound wrong to say this, you weren't a joke as such, but you kind of were, it was like, oh, poor Gary.
Yeah, it is weird, but I think it's fascinating. I tell the story from the point where I want people to learn from it, not for sympathy, because at the end of the day, I've had a really great career in music, but it's amazing how quick it can change. I mean, literally within a couple of weeks, you lose your record deal, and I could count on one hand the people who kept in touch with me through that period. And because when you're hot, everybody wants to be with you.
You're invited to everything.
When you're not, it's like you've got leprosy. Nobody wants anything to do with you.
Yeah, I had a brief period like that. But what's marvellous is you came through it stronger than ever. You really did. And this sounds like the kind of song lyric right there, but you came out the other side. But I love, in a way, I'm fascinated by that period, purely because you were very honest about talking about that. You were very honest. And I know also, you know, just the kind of weird experiences, because you were still really, you know, unsophisticated, perhaps, is the word. Now you're pretty much, you know, you're well-travelled and you're obviously a mature father now. You've had hit records, you've mentored other bands. But I remember in the book you had out at the time, where you mentioned Clive Davis there, the big record mogul, and you had a meeting with him, and he offered you tea, and you made... Tell people what happened.
Well, he was one of those characters that, around him, I'd become nervous and just had this long list of things I'd do, and, you know, I'd spill things and I'd knock his tea over. I mean, I've got this long list of things, but the worst one ever was he invited me to his hotel one morning, and he was on the phone when I arrived, and so he ushered me into another room and he said, help yourself to some tea. And so there was no tea anywhere. I couldn't see anything labelled with tea. And I saw a plate with a silver lid on it, and I lifted the silver lid and it was scrambled eggs on toast. And it was a really fine scrambled eggs on toast. The crusts were cut off, the chives were lightly sprinkled on it. It was beautiful. And I thought, you know, being Northern tea, you know, dinner, lunch, tea, I think this is it. This is it. So I wolfed it. I mean, like, wolfed it. I had that jet lag hunger where I just wolfed it. I put the lid on. Ah, this is great. And then he came in and he said, just sit over there while I eat my breakfast, and lifted the lid off. And I'd eaten the whole thing. And so this went on and on. Around him, I would make these terrible mistakes, and it wasn't a good relationship.
Yeah, yeah, and that didn't really pan out for either of you, really?
It didn't work.
No. OK.
Pressure pad, pressure pad, pressure pad. That's what happens when you play the pressure pad. Pressure pad, pressure pad, pressure pad, pressure pad. Is it correct? The pressure pad. Pressure pad, pressure pad, pressure pad, pressure pad, pressure pad.
In that, but I mean, surely, you know, when you were 15, Gordon, when you were 15, and did you have a girlfriend when you were 15?
Yeah.